Welcome into Gatemen Postgame Live here at Gulf Fuller Field as the Wareham Gatemen drop this one to the Falmouth Commodores by a final score of 12-3. I'm Jacob Toby alongside my broadcast partner, Jake Garcia. That's Matt Feld over there, our beat writer, and Andre Sims, our field reporter, to my left. And I guess I'll start with Matt. This team, the lineup in general, just really can't string hits together, and it was a problem tonight.
Yeah, it's been a problem for a couple of days now. Early on, it looked like that was going to be a different story. 9-hitter Joey Bartosik comes through with a double in the second. Freeman follows up with a base hit, and you thought maybe tonight would be a different story for this Gatemen offense. But hitters 2 through 6 really struggled, unable to come away with a base hit all night outside of Harrison Wenson, who came in late in the game for Colton Shaver. And that's just whether you're playing in the Cape Cod Baseball League, minor league baseball, pro ball, cheese ball even. It's impossible to win a baseball game if your 2 through 6 hitters just aren't able to produce. And we saw that earlier in the year. I believe it was at Harwich, where 3 through 6, 0 for 16. And you just can't win a baseball game, especially against a talented first-place Falmouth lineup with that type of offensive production.
We'll go back over to Jake Garcia as Dalton Horton, a tough night pitching, 3 innings, 5 earned runs. What'd you see out of that, and then the bullpen to follow?
Yeah, Jerry Weinstein after the game was pretty blunt and straightforward with it, saying that his pitchers were not sharp tonight. Did say, though, that the effort was there, the right approach was there, but unfortunately in the Cape Cod Baseball League, or in any baseball league for that matter, you don't get an A for effort. And it's beside the point if they approach this game with enthusiasm unknown to mankind, as Jim Harbaugh would say. The location of their pitches wasn't sharp tonight. The sequences of their pitches weren't sharp tonight. Horton threw so many changeups, and I think it's because his fastball command wasn't anywhere close where it needed to be. But as Matt said, against a talented Falmouth lineup, they were punished for that tonight. A massacre, double-digit runs, double-digit hits for the Commodores tonight. Gigliotti at the top of the order. What more can you say about him? A very impressive night. Lawrence hit 2 home runs out. And for this Wareham pitching staff, a definite step back tonight, the combination of Gelfand and Horton.
In the top of the first, Austin Wade, the second batter today in the lineup for the Wareham Gatemen, tries to bunt and actually gets hit by the pitcher, Tyler Holton. And Andre, you were down trying to figure out what was going on down there. How is he doing after the game? Because it was very serious down on the field.
Yeah, it was a scary moment when it first happened. It seemed like it was one of those things where he was going to be down for a while, but he actually popped back up and sprung up and looked like he was just fine. But then both trainers came out, and he was very visibly bleeding. And I found him in the Falmouth dugout a couple innings later, and I asked him how he was feeling, and he said he was feeling better. He's visibly swollen. It hit him in the cheek, jaw area, visibly swollen. Might have gotten stitches. I'm not sure about that, but that's definitely going to cost him a couple games just because until the swelling goes down, I'm sure he's probably not going to be able to eat or anything like that. So it definitely looks scary. It was good to see him in good spirits afterwards. He obviously was not visibly in pain, wasn't keeled over and wincing all the time. So he appeared to be in good spirits, which is something you want to see after a scary moment like that.
Gentlemen, final takes. Again, they may be hot.
We can start with you, Matt. I know you were jumping at the bit to give your hot take.
I just figured we were going to go in the same order. But anyway, my hot take is twofold, so simmering and then boiling. And the first part of my take is just based on my observations, considering watching this team play Falmouth now twice, Harwich, Katuitt, especially Katuitt. We've seen a lot of these teams just improve compared to the first time that the Gatemen played them. And in our eyes, this Gatemen team is just yet to make that gradual improvement to the next level. It just seems that they've kind of stayed the course. And obviously with all these teams getting their full-time roster players in and improving on the fundamentals, if you're just playing the same way in the first half of the year, the results are going to be totally different. And my second part is, yes, this team has gone into a losing streak. They're now 0-5-2 in their last 7 games. But this is not the only team in this Cape Cod Baseball League that has suffered from a losing streak. Harwich had struggled as of late. Katuitt's been on a run on the flip side after starting 1-12. Bourne had just lost 7 in a row until tonight, and I believe they lost again. They were losing 5-4 to Hyannis with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. So this is not something that I think overall Gatemen fans, I should say, should be worried about, as they are by far not the only team that struggled in this Cape Cod Baseball League.
I have so many takes tonight, so I'm just going to say 3 in a row and then expand on one that I think really deserves to be talked about. First of all, from my vantage point, best outing of the year for Ryan Selmer out of the bullpen. Secondly, Jerry Weinstein didn't agree with me, but I thought it was the best defensive performance Colton Shaver has put together behind the plate this year. And thirdly, and the one I'll expand on more, Michael Gigliotti is probably the best all-around hitter we've seen here on the Cape. Now, that's a simmering take because there are the likes of Jake Mangum, Justin Yurchak for Bourne, Ernie Clement, are a few guys who popped to the top of our list. But Michael Gigliotti, his game is so complete. He has speed. He's good defensively. And the bat poise that he has showed this season has impressed me every single time I've seen him in the batter's box. He swings from the left side, and there aren't a lot of holes in his swing off a lefty, and a tough lefty in Horton. He didn't look one bit phased. Michael Gigliotti takes home my player of the game, and probably if we're going to go around saying favorite players in the Cape League, maybe that's a PR thing to do, but he's my favorite player to watch in the Cape League. PR depth.
The PR depth is real. I guess my hot take, and Jerry Weinstein I think would agree with me, is that the past couple of days, the starting pitchers have just not come out ready to pitch. Jeff Bain comes in yesterday, 4 runs in 2 innings of work, or 6 runs rather in 2 innings of work. Not great there. 4 runs in the bottom of the first, or top of the first, whatever it was. I can't remember. But nevertheless, these pitchers, Bain and then Horton today, you got to come out ready to pitch. Again, Matt, it's the Cape Cod Baseball League. Jake, Andre, it's the Cape Cod Baseball League. I mean, whatever. It's cheese ball. Yeah. But seriously, I mean, you're coming out here in front of all these scouts. You can't just, lug changeups or lug fastballs in there because they're going to get patted over the fence for home runs. And we saw that tonight. And I think Jerry Weinstein's really upset with just the mentality going into these games that, Bain and Horton especially just haven't been ready. They haven't been up to their game. They haven't been feeling it. So I think going forward, I think the pitching staff's going to have to learn to get juiced up for these games just like they do back at their schools and universities.
I have 2 takes. One not so hot, one fairly hot. The first one being, and I mentioned this to Jake before we did our post-game show, is I think this team desperately misses Anthony Herron and Jake Walters. Those are 2 very quality arms that they no longer have, one due to a small injury, one due to just an innings limit. So I think missing those 2 arms, considering they're both starters, both very talented, is really hurting this staff right now. And 2, I think this is a wake-up call for the Gatemen team. This one game right now, we're 2/3-ish of the way through the season at this point, and this team is reeling. 0-5-2 in their last 7, and this was an embarrassing loss. You heard Harrison Wenson say that he's not happy with this after the game, and I don't think he should be. This was a really ugly loss, and at this point in the season, you can't afford to have ugly losses like this. And so how this team responds to this game will be directly indicative of their success for the rest of this year. And if they roll over after this, then we could be looking at a team that just continues the downswing towards the end of the season. But if they respond to this and show some fight, then it might be a different story.
Ooh.
So from embarrassment of riches to embarrassing loss, that's where we've gotten to on our post-game show.
Wow, that was it. All right, so hot takes are present. They always are on Game and Postgame Live. So for Andre Sims, Matt Fell, Jake Garcia, I'm Jacob Toby. The Gatemen fall tonight to the Falmouth Commodores by a final score of 12-3, saying so long and good night from Gov Fuller Field in Falmouth, Mass.